this is the time when we welcome the deities, Sri Nitai Sachinandana, who allowed us to start serving them in 2009 and thereby develop our relationship with the Lord. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful experience. And and then other very important thing is that we have a very special guest. So how many of you met His Grace Rohini Priya Prabhu previously? So there's a good number of, that's nice, there's a good number of devotees who have not met Prabhuji before. So Prabhuji is a senior disciple of His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj, who's disciple of His Divine Grace Sri Swami Prabhupada, Acharya for ISKCON. So Prabhuji was, as some of you know, has been trained as a physician. But early on in his career, he decided to dedicate himself to being a unique, special physician. We all, those of us that are in the medical field, you're either a primary care doctor, or a pediatrician, or obstetrician, or infectious disease doctor, or a surgeon, etc. So Prabhuji is specializing in a specialty called Bhakti Yoga. And as you know, oftentimes medicines in the modern world carry a lot of warnings in the back of the bottle, right? Like a multitude of ingredients, and it might cause liver failure, it might cause pulmonary hypertension, it may cause sepsis, and may, in the worst case, cause death. So this medicine that Prabhuji is practicing is a very peaceful and sweet medicine you can take every day without any harm, and there's no warning labels. And so that's the science and medicine of Bhakti Yoga. So Prabhuji dedicated his life and is dedicating his life towards spreading that medicine around the world. We'll hear a very wonderful lecture today. And Prabhuji is also serving in management at ISKCON Chaupati, and he was mentioned to me now for 25 years at ISKCON Aurangabad. Yes. And they have a wonderful project that's ongoing there, in addition to his activities in preaching throughout the world, and in the US in particular. So that's Pushpa Abhishek became popular through what occurs at ISKCON Chaupati and at ISKCON Mayapur on a big, huge scale. So we're doing it on a smaller scale. Prabhuji very kindly said, well, since you have fewer devotees, it winds up being kind of equivalent, the density winds up being the same. But I think that's his generosity. So let's welcome Prabhuji with a loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Rohini Priya Prabhu ji ki jai. Like Lord Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Radha Madhava Shangari भक्त वृंद की जय। जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंद की। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति सर्वदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपदाय विष्णुप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So first of all, I would like to congratulate all of you for being here on this wonderful day. We are celebrating the flower festival. And this is our yearly offering to the deities in remembrance of their appearance. I'll narrate a very interesting story of a little girl from India whose name is Manjula. Has anyone ever heard about Manjula? You heard? Who else? Okay. So, you can let me know if it's the same Manjula or the others. Right? So there was a little girl growing up. She was very much attracted to serving the deity of the Lord. She was about 6 or 7 years old. And when this particular incidents in her life happened. So she would collect flowers and she would make a garland out of those flowers. And she would offer it to the deity. Should give it to the chief priest, and the chief priest would serve the deity, serve the garland to the deity. This was her offering every single day. Due to certain reasons, and she would bring the garland later in the day. So one day, due to certain reasons, she was late in coming to the temple. By then the temple doors had closed, the altar doors were closed. and the chief priest was on his way out. So she comes with her garland and she says, I brought the garland. So the priest says that the Lord is taking rest, so today we will not need your garland. You do not have any need for your garland. So she starts crying, feeling bad. Little girl, simple-hearted, very much desires that whatever the garland that she makes, we offer to the Lord. So she couldn't go back home. The priest leaves. He has other duties to perform. So she sits outside the temple, outside the temple complex, but within the temple premises. And she's crying. So unsaintly personality who also would come and offer services to the deity or would come for seeing the form of the deity is moved seeing this little girl in tears. He asks her, she tells him what is the issue. So he says, it's all right, don't worry. Not like any adult would do. We don't want to see young children cry. We want to see them always happy. Most adults. Isn't it? Unless until they may be having an adult body, but if their mentality is still of a kid, or something. There are little kids and there are adult kids. So that is when they may not understand how important it is to see little children be happy. So a normal adult and the saint, he tells her, it's all right, don't worry. You can just offer the garland to the Lord in your mind and the Lord will accept it. Well, in that case then, the girl, she feels that in her childlike understanding, she feels that the deity is a person, so when she makes an offering of the garland, that the Lord accepts it. So she's like, how is that possible? How can I do it within my mind? She says, no, it's possible. She tries to offer the garland to the Lord in her mind. For a moment she closes her eyes and tries to do that, and then she opens her eyes and she says, no, it doesn't work. The garland is still in my hands. That's not possible. So he says, no, that is the garland will still stay in your hands, but if you offer it to the Lord will accept it. How do I understand this? I don't understand what you're saying. So the priest says, all right, why don't you offer this garland, put it on the branch of this banyan tree here, and the Lord will accept it. She says, how is that possible? So he tells her that, have you seen your elders, your mother or your elderly ladies come to a banyan tree and go around the tree, worshipping the tree? She says, yes, I've seen that. So do you know why? Because the Supreme Lord is manifest within the banyan tree. And it is true, because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that amongst non-living things or amongst the trees, he is the banyan tree, he is the Ashwatthama. Yes. So She trusts him now. Oh, if the Lord is manifest here, so yeah, I can offer the garland to the Lord. So she does that. So this story is from many centuries ago, so there are various different ways that this story is narrated. So most popular narration is that she put the garland on one of the branches. Branch that was closest to her. So there are certain traditions, certain narrations that say that she put it around a stone at the base of the banyan tree. Anyway, she offered the garland there. So, the next time the priest comes to serve the deity and offer fresh garlands to the deity, the priest is trying to take off that which has already been offered for that day. So he's trying to take off the garlands that have already been offered. So as he's removing those garlands, there's one garland that he's not able to take off the deity. It wouldn't come off. If you try to remove it, it wouldn't come off. The priest is surprised. Now this is a big problem because you have to offer fresh garlands to the deity. For that you have to remove the garlands that have already been offered. So this is a crisis, big crisis. So they have a meeting of all the priests and what should we do? And they're like, oh, let us also confirm that this is what is happening. So they also come in. They try to remove the garland, it wouldn't come off. So then they call for a saintly personality because they very well respected in the community. You've heard this story before? Have you heard of a saint by the name of Puntana? So this is the saint. Yes? So the saint comes, Puntana comes there. And he recognizes the garland and he's like, oh, this is amazing. So he says, my dear Lord, this is Mandila's garland and now we need to serve you, so please let us take off that garland. And then he asks the priest that please remove the garland, and the priest is able to remove the garland. He removes the garland of the Lord's transcendental form. And everyone is surprised. Everyone wants to know what is this story behind Mandila's garland. So they get to hear the story. And since then, she would always be able to offer her garland to the priest because the priest was very, very careful to accept it. He did not want a similar crisis to arise again. Plus, it shows the simplicity of the Lord's reciprocal love and affection for his devotee. Many times we speak about how a devotee is very simple-hearted. We speak about how simple services are when offered to the Lord, and the Lord is pleased if it is in the mode of service. We should also try and meditate on how easygoing the Lord himself is. I mean, he could have airs about him, you know. Why would I accept a garland that is on a tree? It's so simple to approach. It's so simple to serve. And that is how a devotee feels attracted to the Lord. Because a devotee feels that if there is anyone who's the most easily approachable, then that is the Lord. And you could call it faith, you could call it belief. For a devotee, that is realization. It is someone who can be very easily pleased, the most easily pleased, the most easy to approach, the most accessible. And it is the Supreme Lord. And this is because he has a very easygoing personality. The Lord himself is very simple-hearted. He doesn't have any air of superiority around himself or about himself. It's difficult for him to do that. And the reason is, he is Prema Swarup, he is love personified. And love does not have the ability to express feelings of superiority. That is the nature of love. Love cannot be demanding. The nature of love is not to feel jealous. Love is not to discriminate. So the Supreme Lord is the reservoir of pleasure, the reservoir of love. Hence is all attractive. Krishna. Sarva Akarshiti Iti Krishna. All attractive. And who is the Supreme Lord? The deity that we are speaking of. So many thousands of years ago, Vasudeva and Devaki, members of the princely class, Devaki was a princess, Vasudeva was a prince, they were husband and wife. They had a desire to have a son who is the Supreme Lord himself. And the books tell us, the scriptures tell us that this desire of theirs was from a previous age. Sometime back, before Vasudeva and Devaki's time, Sutapa and Prishni were two personalities. They were couple, husband and wife. They went to do a lot of austerities in the mountains that are revered as holy mountains called the Himalayas. So praying for the Supreme Lord to be visible to them. So the Lord appeared in his divine form. He said, yes, I grant you boons. So they said, we want you to be our son, we want you to be our son, we want you to be our son. He said, all right, since you asked 3 times, I will be your son in 3 different births. So he became their son as Prishni Garba, the son of Sutapa and Prishni. Then he was their son as Vamana, where they had taken birth as Kashyap and Aditi. And he became their son as Krishna, where they were Vasudeva and Devaki. The appearance of Krishna is a very well remembered history, especially amongst Vedic scholars and Vedic followers. Devaki's cousin, whose name was Kansa, as the prince, he had usurped the throne of his father and had become a king. So King Kansa. From iCloud, he received a message on his iPhone that the eighth son of Deity would be the cause of the death. He was an intelligent person. He realized that this is no scam. So he tried to kill Devaki. Vasudev negotiated with him. Parley. Said, I will give you all of my any children that are born, and you decide what you have to do with them. Devaki is not, she is not going to be the reason to harm you. The voice in the sky said that his son would be the person that would harm him. So I will give you all our children. So he said, okay, that's fine with me. So the eighth child was Krishna. How did he appear? He appeared as a little baby. But before that, he appeared in his four-handed form as a Supreme Lord. So when Devaki saw him as this really powerful, with this powerful appearance of the Lord, she was moved by her motherly affection to be overly protective of the Lord. Mothers are like that. They become overly protective of their children. So she is like, if you stay in this form, then Kansa will come and harm you, so you please change your form. She was thinking that if he appears like this before Kansa, then Kansa would immediately challenge him. But if he appears as an innocent, harmless baby, maybe it will melt Kansa's heart. So she asked him to transform his form into the form of a little baby. So the Lord did that. Now, he gets transported to another place. Or Vasudev carries him off to another place across the river Yamuna. However, the 400 form that they have seen stays in their minds. When Sutapa and Prishni had the beautiful form of the Lord revealed to them, the Lord had also given them a deity to serve. This deity was manifesting the 400 form of Lord Narayan. So when Sutapa and Prishni, they got that deity and they served the deity, so they passed it on. And somehow, over generations or over time, the deity came down to this dynasty of princes, the Yadu dynasty, where Vasudeva was a prince. So Devaki and Vasudeva had that deity and they would worship the deity. So when they saw the 400 form, this form was exactly the same form as the deity. Now, over so many generations and over so many centuries, this particular deity found its way to the temple where Manjula would offer flowers. In the place, a very holy place called as Guru. And people started revering this deity as their caretaker, a very respectable personality, and also like a child form of the Lord. So it is offered respects as Guru Vairappa. Next time if you visit India and you go to South India, Kerala, you can visit this place. And you could also sit under that tree, which is called the Mandala tree, just Mandala. The tree is still there. That's properly taken care of and worshipped too. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that one could simply please him by an offering of love. So how does one express one's love? Through one's senses. What does one do with us? What are the senses? Eyes, ears, mouth, nose, and the body, the skin. These are the senses. So how do we use the senses to express the affection in our heart? By doing things. Either we speak, or we listen, or we see, or we bring forth some creations, creative things, and we make an offering of it. So Krishna says that he is very happy to accept our offerings of love. What kind of offerings? How do we express these offerings, my dear Lord? So he says, well, if you want to express it in the form of physical things, then it could either be a fruit, a flower, some water, or a leaf too. Why is that? Because even if a person is really invalid, if a person has physical disabilities, if a person is very little small, needs assistance, you could still, these are certain items, physical items, that can be offered easily to the Lord. What to speak of how easily they are available everywhere. So the Lord is saying that I have a lot of possessions. And some of my dearmost connections are you, the living entity. Very dear to me. So if you want to express your affection towards me, and if you want to make an offering, then you could use any of these things. However, if you're trying to make a show of it, then in that case, that is not healthy for you. So in that case, whatever you have to offer it to. So either you make an offering of love with sincerity, complete sincerity, then even a leaf, a fruit, or a flower, or some drops of water is sufficient. However, if you want to make a show of it, you want to show off, you want to get some returns for what offering you are making, then you must offer all that you have unto me. Because when you offer all that you have unto me, then now you're left with just your emotions, or you're left with just your intent. And once one is free of all that makes us vain and proud, then it is easier to express our intent in humility. So, patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayashyati. Patram, leaf, fruit, flower, or water. Otherwise, yat karoshi, yat ashnashi, yat chukoshi, yat tapassisi kamsi, yat tapassisi madhana. So which is what is much more comfortable? An intelligent person would understand that it's more practical to have sincerity in one's offering rather than be in search of some vanity or pride. So therefore, an intelligent person offers sincere service to the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained that Krishna and Balaram would wake up early in the morning as 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 5 plus. And they would play on their buffalo horns. That was to let all of their friends know that it is time to move out of their homes. And go where? Go to the pasturing grounds into the forests. So they would sound their buffalo horns. The friends would reciprocate. So the whole village would resonate with the sound of this beautiful and melodious sound of these horns. And then all the cowherd boys would come to the meeting place. They would gather there. And they would come along with their caps. And they would move into the forest. So before they could do this, every single mother would want their child to look the best. So they would have their attires, they would have their decoration, everything. And these children would be so colorful coming out of their homes and meeting at this meeting place. And from there, they would go into the pasturing grounds, hand in hand, walking together. As soon as they would be out of sight, the Srimad Bhagavatam says, as soon as they would be out of sight means as soon as they would feel that the elders in the village are no longer able to see their forms. Despite the fact that they were having so many decorations on their body, they would pick up the forest minerals and just start applying it on each other's forms and decorate each other. They would pick up flowers and twigs and leaves, and with that decorate each other. They love to do that. And once I was in Vrindavan, so one of the saintly personalities there said that actually what they would do is they would take off all of their ornaments that their mothers had put on them, because they would think, this is too heavy, this is too much. They put it aside and decorate themselves with the forest wares, whatever is available in the forest. The forest deities or the forest personalities, the trees, the twigs, the flowers, the rivers, the streams, the birds and the beasts of the forest would be so happy because they were praying day in and day out that how would we be able to serve Krishna? So Krishna, along with his friends, made himself available to receive their service. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhunai Shravanali Shuddha Chitte Kauravirudai. The desire and ability to serve Krishna is ingrained in every living entity. In fact, every living entity is made up of the substance called as Krishna Seva, service unto Krishna. However, one has been covered by a layer of ignorance, and this layer of ignorance is thick enough to prevent that light, that effulgence of the potential to serve Krishna from being seen. So by practice, we remove these coverings, the layer of ignorance, through constant reminders that we have to serve, we must serve, we will be happy by service, by doing service. The layer is gone, and then this Shuddha Chitte Karavirutai. So when we hear that there's a facility to serve Krishna, the opportunity is there. And this is where I have to stop. because the opportunity has come. So. So the entire presentation was to lead up to this abrupt ending. And somehow, it's a very good coincidence that the curtain opened up and I made that statement. So the potential is there, and we'll see that being revealed today. We'd like to request all of you to remember the efforts that so many devotees have put. Hours and hours and hours of hard work. Devotees and those who have cultivated those flowers, so many other living entities. Their hard work is now, it has afforded us this opportunity to see this wonderful festival where we serve Krishna. So we would like to stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
HG Rohini Priya Prabhu ki Jai. Would you like to take questions, Prabhuji?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Comments? Corrections? You can start. Hare Krishna.
जब विष्णुपाद प्रवंश परिवार का अवैचार भक्ति विरंद स्वामी प्रभुपाद महाराज की निचला प्रश्न विष्णुपाद प्रबंध परिवार का शिष्मद भक्ति सिद्ध सतारु गोसाई प्रभुपाद महाराज की गुरु परंपरा की चढ़ प्रभुगण की नाम कृष्ण हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से बोल जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद सत्य गदाधर से गौर भक्त वृंद की जय गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महाराज की जय श्री निताय सचिनंदन भगवान के श्री कृष्ण बलराम भगवान के श्री राधा माधव अष्टक वृंद की श्री जगन्नाथ बलभद्र सुभद्रा महाराज चक्र संजो के जगन्नाथपुरी धाम के वृंदावन धाम के मायापुर धाम के गौरचंद्र भगवान के श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य महाप्रभु के अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद के भोरमंडल पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र के शुभ मध्याह्न आरती के मध्याह्न आरती जगदानकारी गौर भक्त वृंद के समवेद गौर भक्त वृंद के जय गो सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे all Gostas Hare Krishna, all Gostas Hare Krishna, all Gostas Hare Krishna, Prabhupada ki
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Nitai Sachinandana ki jai. Shri Prahlad Maharaj, Shri Lord Sringadev Bhagwan ki jai. Shrimati Vrinda Devi ki jai. Jagatguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Rohini Priya Prabhu ji ki jai. Shri Vanchakal Patra Vishar So, thank you, Prabhuji, for that wonderful, sweet lecture. Hare Krishna, everyone. Good to see you. So, thank you very much for this wonderful lecture. I know it's going to get busy, so I just want to announce that Prabhuji will have online Zoom question and answer discussion tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., depending on how many questions there are. So we'll send out an email with that Zoom link today, okay? And then tomorrow evening, I believe there's a program at Nagendra Balaram Prabhu's home, Subu. Tomorrow program at your home, tomorrow. What time will that be? 6:30. 6:30? Okay. So I'm sure everybody's invited to Nagendra Balaram Prabhu and Mataji's home. 6:30, correct? Tomorrow evening program. Thank you very much. I want to extend my great appreciation to Prabhuji for extending himself in his busy tour to come to our humble temple and lotus feet of Sri Nitai Sachinandana. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Let's appreciate Prabhuji's presence with a loud Hari Bol. Very special. Nice to see you. Prabhuji's been coming since when we were at the old warehouse. I remember the very first time you gave me a picture of Shishilada Gopinath. That was very nice. Still honored. Thank you very much. So today is a special day. On 2009, Sri Nitai Sachinandana, which are deities from Sri Dham. The history is that they came with Prabhuji. Then GBC, that they had come into his presence in Chitam Vrindavan, and then the deities came to the farm community in Tennessee. And then from there they came to the temple that was in southeast Portland. How many of you were at that temple? Yeah, so some of us had gone to that temple. And then those devotees left for other locales where they could do service. And so Sri Nitai Sachinandana subsequently in 2009 agreed to come into our temple so that we can serve them and be blessed by their loving reciprocation. So Sri Nitai Sachinandana Deity. They're amazing deities. I first had their darshan in 2000, and I've personally seen that whatever sincere and serious endeavor and prayer is rendered in their service is very much reciprocated, like Prabhuji said. And Krishna is very approachable and very loving and very appreciative. He's the appreciator of all appreciators. So you can feel that when you serve them and you pray for them and you chant for their pleasure. So today what we're going to do is, in commemoration, Prabhuji read that verse, Patram Krishna Palitoya Yogi Bhakti Vyasta. That Krishna accepts flowers offered to him as decoration. Then showering flowers is also appropriate. I was mentioning to Prabhuji that His Holiness Dhanvir Goswami Maharaj, who used to be temple president of Portland in the 1970s, told me that he had first asked Srila Prabhupada whether this is appropriate. And Srila Prabhupada sent him an email saying, not email, there were no emails then, sent a letter saying it's very much appropriate and you should do very nicely. So along those instructions, we will try to do, the pujaris will stand everything on the altar. To some extent, it's made out of flowers, the dresses of the deities, their ornaments, etc. So the pujaris will offer flowers to their lordships. We'll have a glorious kirtan, and then subsequently, when the flowers are, because the deities will be fairly, embedded in flowers, so then the pujaris will carefully remove the flowers, and they'll come out, and then they'll be handed to devotees as prasadam, and then devotees can, give prasadam to each other by pouring flowers. So you ready for that? Yes. So the main request is the devotional in doing it, and it's not a food fight. So it should be done with a mood of devotion and care, and don't get hurt. Other things is we should remove everything in the center, I would say, to the periphery, probably including harmonium, etc. That I think we'll have to respect the camera. Where's Harshita Mataji? Is that going to still be there? Okay, so we have to respect that space around it because that's how it gets recorded into YouTube, Facebook, live stream. So please do not gather around that area, okay? Okay, so harmonium, everything else should come to the side. So this is like an art thing. So everyone can stand up in place, please. Because the deities are going to be offered older in the form of flowers. And Mother Prabhu, you can be. Excuse me?
Can we sit down or should we?
I think if you want to sit down, then you need to probably shift all the way to the edge. So that,
Good.
Sri Nitai Sachinandana Bhagavan ki Hare Krishna
Prabhupada ki, Sri Nitai Sachinandana Dev Bhagavan ki, Sri Krishna Balaram ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Nitya. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Gaur Nitya. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya,
Sri Advaita Gauranga, Sri Advaita Dampati Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
So the first part is, straightforward, glorifying the Panchtattva, and the second, Gaur Bhaktavinda is who? Yes, all the assembled devotees. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful that within his prayer includes blessings to all the assembled devotees. So it looks like you all had fun. Tell me about this. Did you have fun? Hare Krishna. Sorry to forget something. So this happens once a year, and this has been like 2 years since we were able to do this. So Krishna is merciful. He temporarily puts a reprieve on the pandemic. So now what we'd like is your assistance. So if we could take some brooms and broom off the petals together, and then there's bags where the petals can go. So can devotees, if everybody takes turn, I saw Dhriti, Gopika doing in a little bag. So I think if all the devotees can gather the petals around their vicinity into a neat pile, we'll turn off the fans temporarily, and then some devotees will bring brooms, and ask for your help. If you can't help, or just are too busy with other things, I suggest you move forward to the wall. But if everybody can collect a pile near them, that'll make the process, I think, a little bit easier. Okay? Thank you. And in the meanwhile, the Kirtan Mandali will continue, yes? Okay. So I suggest, Gopal, Shrikar, if you can go up against some kind of corner section, not because we don't want